can't see.
Unfair question.
Can't see.
Based on your own experience, have your cell phones been a distraction from your academic work?
For me, no. Uh, Actually, I use my cell phone. Like, if I miss notes, I use it. Take out what notes I miss for business and for weight. Notes I miss and I use it and I write or to do my homework. You know, I don't really see my phone as a distraction to me.
Same question. It's an advantage and a disadvantage. In all circumstances, I think the only time a child should have a cell phone is if they achieve something. And to me, yes, it is a distraction because I got a lot of distractions. And I don't know, banning it won't solve any problem because you're gonna do it behind your back again. So I don't know how to answer that. Adults may think different because we're children. We know we have our own way. They have their own way, and coming together, we have to solve that matter. So I don't know about banning it.
But you will not encourage its total and persistent use.
No, because they have a lot of children in this society now, the 21st century. You're very weak, and cell phones are taking over. Technology, matter of fact, the internet is really taking over our minds, and so you gotta look at it to please a child, you know. So that's a tough question to say banning it. I don't think so. Only if you accomplish something, I think you should reward that child, give them what they want. If they did not, if they go below average of what you want, you take it away from them.
Should cell phone possession and use in schools be restricted?
Well, I've had a cell phone myself. I think every student in secondary school had a cell phone. If not, well, probably they couldn't afford it or they had other difficulties. And for me, it was a huge distraction. I mean, some students, they would be in the classrooms and their phones would be in their hands, in their bags, and like texting and pressing the buttons, as Sir Longhorn said, while the teacher is in front of the class giving a lecture. And to me, that is really disrespectful. It is a distraction to the students and it is disrespectful to the teacher. So I think that within schools, it should be banned from schools because students would still, as Tish said, go behind the backs and still use the cell phones. But at home, domestic-wise, I think that the parents would have to be in charge of the students' use of their cell phones. If the parents, if they choose to reward their child with a cell phone, they should look into what they're doing and what their accounts are, whatever, because there are a lot of trafficking and a lot of perverts and a lot of hackers that may just press one button and it can destroy your entire future for you. Because there are a lot of young ladies, especially in my school with the previous problems with the pornography in the classrooms. The child had to be sent to another school because if she would reattend St. Joseph, she would be bullied a lot in school. So I think in school it should be banned. But at home, domestic-wise, it is up to the parents to know whether they would stand the chance of giving their children a cell phone, because children, as studies have proven, that we take more risks than adults because we're during the period of adolescence. That's how we are. So I think that it is up to the parents.
spokesman for Minister of Home Affairs, Information and Public Affairs, Wilfred Abrahams, Acting Chief Education Officer, Joy Adamson, NCSA Chairman, Hatford Howell, NCSA Director, Betty Hunt, and others involved in the fight against the drug scourge. The governing Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party, ABLP, has summoned parliamentarian Asut Michael to a disciplinary tribunal. Observer newspaper reports that the 5-member body has already served him with a letter outlining the complaints against him. Mr. Michael, who is a parliamentarian for St. Peter, was engaged in a public feud with Prime Minister Gaston Brown when he made a number of accusations and even called for a convention to be held for the leadership of the party. Following that feud, PM Brown had shared his intent to take Michael before the ABLP's tribunal for his latest actions. Chairing the tribunal is Lionel Max Hurst, who says the hearing will be held next month. Those alleged breaches will also be accompanied by evidence to support the charges against him. Following the receipt of the letter, Mr. Michael will have 3 days within which to respond in writing. Following his response, the tribunal will then set a date on which the matter will be heard. At that hearing, Michael will have the right to be represented by legal counsel. Some participants for leading COVID-19 vaccine trials have reported experiencing grueling side effects after receiving the shot, such as high fever, body aches, headaches, and exhaustion. CNBC reported that 5 participants, 3 in Moderna's study and 2 in Pfizer's late-stage trials, say the uncomfortable side effects usually went away within a day, but some were surprised by how severe they were. A North Carolina woman in her 50s, who participated in the Moderna trials, who declined to be identified, told the outlet, if the vaccine proves to work, people are going to have to use it. Meanwhile, a Maryland participant in his 20s says that he came down with a high fever after receiving the shot. Luke Hutchinson, a 44-year-old from Utah, also participated in the Moderna trials and felt out of sorts for a couple of days after being administered this first shot on August 18, the outlet reported. But just hours after receiving the second dose, on September 15, he became bedridden with shakes, chills, a terrible headache, and shortness of breath, the outlet reported. For 5 hours, his temperature was above 100 degrees. A Moderna spokesman says the company doesn't comment on participants in ongoing trials, but noted that safety committees have given the study the green light to continue at each review. Johnny Nash, best known for his 1972 hit I Can See Clearly Now, died yesterday morning. He was 80 years old. This is according to his son, John Nash. The American reggae and pop music singer-songwriter passed away from natural causes at his home in Houston, his son said. Johnny Nash began his career as a pop singer in the 1950s. In the 1960s, he and Danny Sims formed Jad Records, and while living in Jamaica, the pair signed Bob Marley and the other members of the group, the Wailers. And now to end the news, a look at the lead stories once again. Opposition leader Joseph Harman is calling on the government to remove Commissioner of the Ethnic Relations Commission, Rosen Khan. Deputy Chief Elections Officer of the Guyana Elections Commission, Roxanne Myers, was last evening locked up in a police cell. Guyana's COVID-19 death toll, up to news time, raced to 95 with the death of 3 persons. Digicel and GTT say they are ready to vastly improve connectivity now that the country's telecommunications sector has been formally liberalized. Alcohol and inhalants are the top 2 drugs being used by Class 3 and 4 primary school pupils in Barbados. And some participants for leading COVID-19 vaccine trials have reported experiencing grueling side effects after receiving the shot, such as high fever, body aches, headaches, and exhaustion. And that's the end of the news. This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit DemeraraWaves.com. You can check Facebook.com/DemWaves and Twitter.com/DemWaves.
News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM. Radio that educates and entertains.
And it's now